are few precious things left in this world. Eugene's face when Princess mentioned that she has candy is one of them. So this is the last Walking Dead episode for quite a while, and episode 15 is serving as the finale for this season. There is a 16th episode, but unfortunately, like I talked about in my last review, they couldn't get the post-production done in time. So what they decided to do, according to AMC and the showrunner, is episode 15 is going to serve as a makeshift finale for season 10, and then as soon as the quarantine is over and everyone goes back to their normal work schedule, they can get out episode 16 really, really quick, and they're going to make it a sort of special, so it's not going to be part of season 10, but it's also not going to be part of season 11. It's going to be its own thing, and the word they're using is just special. I still think that's a bit confusing because it is part of season 10, but I get what they're trying to say. Just for right now, until we have an update on the situation going on, just treat this like a finale. Honestly, that makes it hard to judge this finale compared to other season finales, because this was kind of a emergency band-aid finale. I would say if I was just looking at this as a finale and not taking into account that it wasn't supposed to be and this was an emergency situation, I think it was a fairly good finale to have. It's a good cliffhanger, maybe not a cliffhanger I like, but they've had worse cliffhangers in The Walking Dead, let's be honest. Some really bad ones, and some drama with AMC I'm sure YouTubers don't want to go back into. Now, if I were to take into account, okay, this wasn't supposed to be the finale for season 10, and originally we were supposed to get one more episode, I would say this was actually an 8 out of 10 episode, or finale, knowing that they kind of had to hodgepodge it together. It was good. It was really good. I really wish we would have gotten the final episode, 16, for this season, instead of it being a weird one-off special between 10 and 11, or at least that's what they're going with right now. Things obviously could change. They could go, hey, yeah, we changed our mind. We actually want to say this is part of season 10 and not a in-between, but I think it was good. I enjoyed it. Introduced a fun new character. Well, we got to meet her last episode, but got to see her more. So actually, let's start by talking about Princess. So if you read the Walking Dead comics, I'm not going to spoil her storyline. I would do a separate video doing the lore behind her if you guys care about that. I liked her. I was fine with her in the comics. Now, if you go back a few years, I believe she was introduced in 2017 in the comics. Huge backlash. People fucking hated Princess with a passion. There were so many blog posts and forum posts of people just freaking out, and Kirkman absolutely loved her, and it was one of his favorite new creations. So if you want to see a little bit of fun and how people reacted to Princess premiere in the comics, go back to 2017. People were not happy at all. But just like in the comics with the show, she's fine. I don't really dislike her, but she's also just not a favorite character. I mean, I get why she's a little bit loopy, because she's been on her own for a long time. I do agree, in comparison to the rest of the world, her upbeat, preppy sense of humor is a bit out there, and I think it's called The World Beyond, which is the new Walking Dead spinoff that is going to do the first coming of age people in the zombie apocalypse. She feels like she would fit in better with them, even though she's in her late 20s, early 30s in this timeline of the show. But I don't know, I think it's good to have different types of characters with different type of personalities, and I can understand why people would be annoyed by her and her being so peppy and the colored hair and the pink fuzzy jacket and all that. I get both sides of the argument here. I guess I just don't feel strongly about her. She's fine. She doesn't annoy me, but she also doesn't entertain me. She's just something new. The one thing that actually did bother me about Princess in the comics, and now is happening in the show, she was very well protected in the city, just being by herself. And when you go outside of it, there's all these dangers, all these different groups that attack the civilizations and outposts. And I kind of wish that they would have told her that. Like, hey, yeah, you're alone here and you haven't had people, but you're safe. The trade-off is you go out and you're around all these people and there's a lot of danger and you can't necessarily trust people. On the other hand, we know the deep psychological, I don't mean to laugh about this, I was just watching a whole, it was a study documentary, I think, on isolation in human beings and how bad it just messes us up. So I understand why she wanted to be around people. I just feel like she probably would have been better off just staying in the city. Anyways, I also want to say to any of you, I know this is kind of a side thing and I'll make it as quick as I can. If somebody tells you that you're hard to love, they're probably the abusive asshole. Now, if everybody in your life or a good number of people are saying that, maybe have some self-reflection. In general, you should have self-reflection and try to improve yourself as a person. But if one person is saying that, or a certain group of people, chances are they're abusive and shitty people, and you're okay. Doesn't mean you shouldn't improve yourself, doesn't mean you should reflect on yourself. So, fuck those people. But also therapy might help, and just talking things out and seeing things from different perspectives. But Princess, her saying, I was told I was hard to love, and so that really messed with me. Don't let those people mess with you. Be self-aware, constantly improve. Anybody that tells you you're hard to love or no one will love me but you, chances are they're probably abusive and or dicks. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm actually really loving Ezekiel. He got a little harder, and I understand a little bit more somber because of everything he lost. I mean, the kingdom, he also lost Carol, he has thyroid cancer. It was actually a lot of fun to see him going on this journey and being in the city and just laughing and having a good time. It felt good to see that happy-go-lucky Ezekiel, and I'm really loving it. And I want to see more of that Ezekiel, and I'm really hoping we find a way to cure his thyroid cancer. I'm not ready to lose him anytime soon. Miko kind of pissed me off this episode. She was a little bit more bitchy than she needed to be, a little bit more on edge. I understand being gruff and distrusting in the world they're in. It felt like she took it a little bit too far and she needed to dial it down. She was up here. She needed to be right down here. Eugene, as always, a pleasure. I go back and forth on him, depending on the episode, whether I like him or not. Again, like I said in the intro, the look on his face when Princess went, hey, okay, I'm gonna go with you, but can we go to my stash because I got stuff? Candy. And Eugene's face, I loved it. It was very precious. So, unfortunately, we're not going to see more of her character and Eugene. I hope in the premiere episode of season 11, we see Eugene munching on candy as they go forward on their meeting. It needs to happen. AMC, don't fuck me on this. Really quick, before I go into beta, I want to talk about Daryl and Judith. Did anyone find it a bit fascinating that Judith didn't tell Daryl the whole story? Judith went, oh yeah, Mom went off to help a group, but she didn't say, and also there's some indications that Rick is alive. And I wonder if there's a fear, and maybe they already talked about this. I don't watch The Talking Dead, I just don't have time to do that, unfortunately, right after the show. So let me know if they did say this. I'm wondering if she didn't tell Daryl about the Rick part, because she was already worried of Daryl leaving her and going with her mom, and she thought, oh shit, if, obviously she's a kid, she didn't say shit. I worry that if I tell Daryl about Rick, he'll for sure leave. So, I don't know. That's kind of my theory why she didn't tell him the whole story, and I'm interested to see if that ever comes out. I have a feeling if The Walking Dead goes on so many more seasons after the Walking Dead movies happen, if we will see eventually Andrew Lincoln come back into The Walking Dead as Rick. I could see it happening. I just know there were a lot of personal reasons why Andrew Lincoln needed to take a step back from doing the Walking Dead TV show and wanted to move to doing a few movies. So we'll see on that. Judith, definitely, it seems this season she learned a lot of hard lessons about killing. She had to kill that living person, which she thought was a walker. Seeing Daryl just kill someone and leave them in a ditch. A lot of emotional ramifications. I think Daryl's doing the best he can. He obviously was raised not that gently, so raising a kid or helping raise a kid in the post-apocalypse in a gentle way is hard on its own, but also because of his life experiences, it makes it even harder. Overall, I'm very impressed with Judith this episode and every episode this season. Finally, let's talk about Beta. Everybody loves seeing a good mental breakdown, and oh boy, is Beta having one. I do think it's fitting that he's hearing the walkers whispering, and he also hears Alpha in there just to show how far gone he is, and that he's just still so enamored with Alpha, and he still believes he's the Beta, and he's carrying out her work. I guess I could do a video comparing the relationship between Beta and Alpha in the comics versus what we've seen in the show. I might wait to see how they end the Beta storyline in the show. I'm assuming, given certain circumstances, it's going to be a bit different. I'm excited to see in season 11 them ending the fucking Whispers storyline. Maybe in the special standalone episode 16, but not really. Episode, we'll see that close out, and then we can focus on the next storyline in The Walking Dead. We already see that the Whispers are falling apart with Alpha being dead and that Beta's lost his mind, so it makes sense that it's going to fall apart very quickly. So those are my thoughts on the finale. I did a lot of air quotes this review, sorry. They're just everywhere. Just pretend like they're bunny ears if they bother you. I liked doing bunny ears this episode review. Let me know what you thought. I really want to see the standalone special. I'm curious when they'll get it out. I'd imagine maybe sometime in the summer, because they said once the work schedules go back to normal, they can finish the rest of it pretty quickly. So we'll see. I wonder how much they're going to move the story forward with the special episode before we get to season 11, and I really hope people watch it so they're not confused with the premiere of season 11. But I'm sure they'll do the recap video and include it. So like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below.